All right, what is good? What is happening, everybody? It is your boy Primitive AK here. We are back here with another video, this time on Warzone Mobile. I know you guys probably weren't expecting something like this. No webcam today just because I'm trying to mess around with some settings. I've never really recorded mobile footage before. I'm actually on my iPhone 15 Pro Max today. But today we're going to be showcasing you guys the best overall settings to be using for Warzone Mobile, and this applies to if you are using a controller. Now, if you don't know how to connect your controller, it's very simple. All you have to do is go all the way to your menu. You want to press and hold the PlayStation button and the share button on your controller. Press and hold that until you see the controller flashing. Once you do that, you just want to go over to your settings and your Bluetooth settings on your phone and then select your controller, and that will allow you to connect it. Very simple, very easy to do. You can also plug it in if you want, but I'd recommend you just do it wirelessly, just to avoid any headaches. So that way you can keep your phone charged while you do this, because your phone will die very quickly playing this game. But overall, let's talk about the best settings to be using for this game. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you change your HUD. So the first thing to do that, you're going to go over to controller sets, and then this is going to bring up the HUD presets menu. You're going to want to go all the way to the right and then select default controller. This is going to remove a lot of the clutter off of your screen, because if you're using your controller, you don't really need most of the HUD that's in there. So you just want to make sure you turn that on. Once you do that, you want to go over to gameplay. For gameplay settings, you want to set your weapon trigger to manual fire. Automations, you want to set that to custom, and then you want to turn this over on. And then once you go over to your gameplay tab, automations, you want to set this to custom as well. Turn damage aim assist on as well. So once you have damage aim assist on, it's going to be further down in the menu. And then you're going to want to have loot auto pickup on as well. Auto mantle you want to set to off. I actually, this one kind of be hit or miss. You can kind of leave this on if you want. Personally, I usually leave this on sometimes because auto mantle does kind of save my ass sometimes. Parachute you want to set to manual, so that way you can control it. You can control how your parachute moves, so just bear that in mind. Climb stairs buttons, you want to set this to on. Auto crouch set to on. Turn controllers assist, you want to set to off as well. And auto equip armor, you want to set to off as well. You always want to have control of your armor, because that will automatically put it on if you are down armor plates, and that can kind of ruin your gunfights a lot. So I would strongly recommend you turn that off entirely. Movement, virtual stick behavior, you want to set to analog. And sprint to stand, you want to set to on as well. Camera rotation mode on accelerated. ADS button on. Fire button always rotation on as well. Throwback button always allows rotation set to off. And this is basically gonna like mess around with your camera, so you want to make sure that's off as well. Weapon mount movement exit you want to set to on. Weapon mount exit delay you want to set to medium. Weapon trigger is going to be on manual fire. This is so that way you can control how your weapon fires, so you want to make sure that's on. Auto fire on objects set to custom, and then enemies only, so make sure that setting is on there. Moving on, auto fire range limiter you want to set to off. Single shot behavior set to custom. And then once you have that set to custom, you want to go ahead and change a few of these settings here. Shotgun you're going to want to make sure is on. So that way, this way when you hold down and release the fire trigger weapon, it'll basically auto fire the weapon essentially. So that way certain single fire weapons have that ability. And this also applies for semi-automatics. So it kind of turns a semi-automatic into an auto. That's essentially what that does there. Aim down sights firing when off, you want to set to, or I'm sorry, aim down sights when firing, you want to set this to off. And then snap ADS fire button to off as well. And then aim down sight behavior on toggle. Focus behavior set to toggle. Auto melee is going to be set to off. Definitely don't want that on, because that will ruin a lot of your gunfights. And sprinting door bash is just so that way when you sprint through doors, it's going to open the door for you. Definitely make sure that's on. Force reload set to sprint only. Force equip set to off as well. And then equip all armor plates on. Aim assist obviously on. Vehicle controls, I don't really use vehicles often, but you still want to make sure it's set to stick, because that will it's going to use the stick instead of any arrow keys. Gyroscope, you should not be using gyro. There's no point to using it at all. This is just, unless you want to really piss your enemy off, or like a clip or something. Other than that, it's just not really needed. Controller in vertical look set to off. outlines. All of this is going to be set to on as well, so you don't really need to worry about that. And for your interface, you want to have left fire display on always on, fire displays, fire buttons while auto fire is going to be off. Both of these are going to be on integrated. So show ammo is going to be integrated. And then for hit marker display, you're going to set that to on. For hit marker size, you want to set this to small because the hit marker sizes are a little bit big after doing some of the tutorials. And then moving on to our movement area, you want to have auto sprint lock set to floating, change stance set to split. Fixed joystick is going to be off. Inverted cameras are going to be off as well. Alerts, you want to have both of these on. Tutorials, I would leave these off if you kind of already know what you're doing. So there's no point really having that on, especially if you're an experienced player. Moving on to sensitivity. This is something you're going to have to play around with if you are, if you're playing on controller. I would try to leave this similar to what you have on multiplayer. Like if you play regular Warzone or just multiplayer, I usually always have mine set to 6, so that's kind of what I just leave mine on. But you'll kind of have to play around with this. The ADS sensitivity, vertical multiplier, I'm going to have to change that a little bit. Probably leave this at about 0.8. That's about what I prefer to have it on. Aim sensitivity on horizontal, you want to make sure that's kind of set similar as well. You don't usually want to change these two numbers. So just kind of bear with me on that as well. So I'm going to actually put this to 90, actually. Oh, there we go. And then horizontal, I would probably recommend you put this to about 65. That's going to be about where you want it, in my opinion. Because these settings are a little bit different from COD, but you kind of have to play around with it a little bit. I was actually playing on a 50 prior to this game, and it wasn't really fast enough, so I decided to turn that up. But my sensitivity, I prefer to leave it at 6. I feel like that's enough for me, personally. And moving on to our next overall settings here. ADS sensitivity. I have this set global to about 3. ADS sensitivity per zoom is going to be off. I don't really feel the need to use that, and I don't really want to go through all of those as well. And transition timing, you want to set this to gradual as well. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for all of your settings in Warzone Mobile. These should help you guys out. Like I said, the only thing you're going to have to go through is maybe play around with some of your sensitivity settings, because you may have some trouble trying to learn some of these settings. But I feel this has helped me out quite a bit, but let me know if it helped you guys out. Thank you guys for all the love and support, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's your boy Primitive AK, signing out. Peace out, fellas.